I guess I'm doing a vertical stream. I was trying to flip it the other way, but Sean is here, I know, and like I said, there might just be a few of us here tonight because, like I said, I wasn't sure I was even going to go live. Kimberly, thank you for that. She says, praying that you will catch a flight soon, and I hope that is the case too. The thing is I guess because of the time difference in Australia and all that, the flights don't even leave until I think the earliest one you can get on maybe is be like 8 o'clock LA time, which would be 10 o'clock Central or 11 o'clock Eastern. And the flights that look likely for us to potentially get on are going to be in the 10 o'clock LA time or midnight Central for me. So that's what we got going on. I do have roughly 2 beers worth of Modelo here to get me through this live tonight, however long it may last. Will G, what's going on? We said hello to Sean. Sean was as far as checking in, there might have been a few others that were here but didn't put anything in the comments in. But Sean, Kimberly, Will G, and we got Edmund, Tim G, and Bless Nettie. So we got at least 5. I see we're up to 7, so a couple other people haven't checked in yet. So yeah, say hi, because it's just a small little group family here, family party. And I will take a sip of my drink while everybody else checks in. So for anybody new that doesn't really know what I'm doing, what's going on, hello Sandy, Lost Pirate Jenkins, what is going on? We are on our way to Australia. Booked this cruise probably a year ago. We got Andrew from Funnelheads here. Yeah, thank you for that, Andrew and Michelle. And anyway, it's a Journeys cruise, got a casino promotion. So, I mean, they basically were almost giving the cruise away. Now, recently, share some good news here. I did get an upgrade offer for only $400. So I had a window view room, and for $400 I was able to upgrade to a balcony, and considering it's for 15 days, I thought that was a pretty good deal. So yeah, happy about that. Mary Ellen says, hey, I just booked my flights to Australia for next year, and I hope it's amazing, Mary Ellen. So I will be putting out a bunch of vlogs, of course. Michael, what's going on? We got Lewis here, and he's in Aruba. I saw that he just boarded. He is cruising like a crazy person. He was just in Japan not too long ago. We got Lourdes Rios. Hey, Coach, from on board the Vista in Aruba. So you and Lewis might be together on the same ship, I'm guessing. We got Scott from Controversial Cruising, Roderick Hawkins. Yeah, so we got some of the same group, and we got some people that haven't been here for a minute. We got Carnival Cruise Addicts here, Liz and Chris, and they're doing their thing over on their channel as always. So make sure you check them out, along with Scott from Controversial Cruising and Andrew from Funnelheads. So yeah, we got a lot of content creators here and a lot of just cruise fam here in general. You probably heard that plane just flying overhead. So hopefully I'm talking well enough. The celebration's in Aruba too. Okay, yeah, and as a matter of fact, I think Lewis is on the celebration if I remember correctly. So maybe not the Vista, but the Vista will be one of my next ships, Horizon Thanksgiving and then Vista New Year's Eve. So be doing the Vista class a lot in these past few cruises. And the Venezia is kind of like a, okay, Lewis says we're at Rudy's celebrating Monsi's birthday. Oh, okay. I didn't know it was Monsi's birthday. Well, happy birthday to Monsi. You guys got, I think you got Amelia with you too. So Amelia's their granddaughter. So yeah, very cool. Try that key lime pie is really good at Rudy's. And if you haven't already ordered appetizers, the cheesy scallops or whatever, I forget what those are called, but those are amazing. And I don't know if you tried those or not, but yeah, that would be my recommendations as far as that. Lobster mac and cheese, pretty good too. Just throwing out some suggestions there, but yeah. So yeah, super excited about this Australia trip. A lot of people, you know, the thing is, I was starting to look at the time zones. So 8 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. Australia time is going to be 3 p.m. Central time. So basically noon my time will be 7 p.m. Central time, I believe, if I have that figured out correctly. What's going on, Mandy? So I'll be trying to keep the lives, at the same time, assuming we're not in port or something like that. And if we are in port, then, I'll figure something out. I'll give the warning. And obviously I'm going to be putting out a lot of vlogs. And I will forewarn everybody, it is 9 sea days. So I'm going to have to come up with a lot of content from the ship. In Australia, we're doing, obviously, Sydney is our port we're starting off with. So hopefully we get there a day or two early and can enjoy some of that. We do Cairns, we do Brisbane, we do Airlie Beach, we do Lombok, Indonesia, and Bali, Indonesia. And then we're supposed to finish in Singapore. Okay, Lewis says he ordered the bisque. Oh yeah, that bisque is really good, and the lobster mac and cheese. Oh, and key lime. Okay, so yeah, you got 2 of the 3 right there. So very good. Mary Ellen says I've just been home from the celebration for a week. Very cool. And who's the cruise director now in the celebration? Who took over for Lee? I think it was Leon, right? How's Leon doing as a cruise director? I've cruised with Leon before, and he was good when I cruised with him. So I assume he's picking up where he left off, but yeah. So Carnival Cruise Addict says, I think 10 a.m. Sydney time will be 8 p.m. the day before. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure it out. I just been asking Siri, hey, what time is it in Sydney right now? And Andrew says Leon from Funnelheads. And so, yeah. What else was I going to say? Okay, so I don't really have any excursions booked in Australia. But there's Greg and Michelle from Cruise Life TV. Any suggestions for those of you that have been to Australia or Bali or Lombok, Indonesia? If any of you have been to any of those places, or you've researched Australia and either Cairns, Brisbane, I want to do something that involves, nature, either via water or something like that. I mean, the Great Barrier Reef is out there, so yeah, I want to check out something like that. But really into more of the natural beauty, which is why we're considering possibly staying in Bali, and then flying back from there, rather than spending an extra day or two to get to Singapore and then ending our time in the city. Like, some people are telling me, oh no, you got to go to Singapore, it's amazing, this and that. But I mean, I live in a big city, so it's like, don't want to finish in a big city, or I want to go to a place like Bali, which has the natural beauty that I don't get to see as often. So I'm kind of leaning toward that way. But I mean, you all can convince me otherwise. So yeah, throw those comments in. I see we got Eddie Lugo here, Eddie Lugo Studios. Yo, be right back making dinner. All right, we'll make some good dinner then. And so that's the plan going on right now. 18 hours is the flight time, and then if you do a stop or something, obviously you're talking about 22 hours. So basically, like, it's going to be parts of 2 days to get to Australia. And for those of you that don't know, most of you have seen me up close, but I'm about 6'5", 265, 270 in that ballpark. Most people say I don't look near that heavy, but that's just what my body weight is. So I'm a large human, and I mean, I have to have an aisle seat. I can make it work flying coach in an aisle seat. I can get up, stand up, stretch my legs out, but I mean, middle seat, not gonna do it. So we talked a little bit about this on some past lives, but interested in, does anybody want to do Australia? Is that a bucket list cruise out there for anybody? I know Mary checked in and said she just booked her flights for next year to do Australia. But is there anything about Australia that you're just like, oh my God, I have to go there? That just looks so amazing. I mean, I know New Zealand is on one of mine. Iceland looks amazing. Lewis, who just checked in, just did Japan, Lewis and Monsi, and they said that was amazing. Jason's checking in and says, I flew to Sydney in 97, and it was 14 and a half hours LAX to Sydney. Okay. All right. So yeah, hopefully we get there a little faster. But yeah, 14 and a half sounds a lot better than 17, 18. Andrew says, yeah, we're looking to do Australia in the next 3 years. There you go. I mean, I love the thought of Australia. This flight, though, does not sound appealing to me. And I know, I know you got to make some sacrifices and to do some things that you really want to do, right? But yeah, the flight, I mean, airplanes and me and just being confined in a small space. I mean, I'm not claustrophobic, but, you know, I don't have the financial resources to just, you know, book a business class or a first class or anything like that. So it makes it a little more difficult. Daryl says, it is checking in, says, hey, coach, what's going on, Daryl? Joey Jojo says, Cancun is better. All right. And says, Acapulco. Well, I mean, I guess I'm going to find out. I hope that it's amazing. And I mean, I know there's places close to us, right, that, you know, are amazing in themselves. And, you know, we'll go halfway around the world and we might find something and we're like, you know what, this over here is more beautiful and it's, you know, not a third of the fly time or the travel time to get there. And that may end up being the case. But, you know, you do want to go out there and check it out, you know, and just see what it's all about, right? Admin Tim says, I would like to do a back-to-back in Australia to make the flight worth it. Yeah, Tim, and that's a great point. I mean, I think if you're going to fly halfway around the world, you don't even consider doing like a week, right? I mean, it has to be at least 2 weeks. So the Journeys cruise itself is 15 days. And then, you know, we're trying to get out there 2 to 3 days on the front end. And then on the back end, stay another 2 to 3 days, you know, maybe in some place like Bali, or if we do go to Singapore, we'll stay that extra 2 to 3 days in Singapore. Mary says, my cousin's daughter lives in Sydney. Okay. So Mary, you could, you know, message me as far as, you know, if living in Sydney and everything, they probably have some great ideas about what you could do that won't break the bank, that is going to be super memorable in Sydney. And that would be really cool. Just had a thought because I saw somebody walk out of this little bar restaurant here. I'm in an outdoor picnic area or patio area. Right now I think I'm the only person out here, but we got here about 2 o'clock because, like I said, you know, we can't even check in for our flights until like 6 or 7 o'clock. And when this live is over, if I go the full hour, it'll be 6 p.m. So we still have plenty of time. And it's a nice little, you know, picnic area. The bar is a little bit of a dive bar, but, you know, they had tacos on special today. So I've eaten like 5 tacos already. The shrimp tacos here were amazing. I had a couple of those. I had a steak taco. I had some carnitas. And I had a salmon taco. All of them very good, but the shrimp tacos by far were the best. And then they gave you some chips and stuff like that. And split a pitcher of Modelo. Actually, that's the second pitcher. So split two pitchers of Modelo. That's probably why I slurred right there. But I got almost a full glass there, plus a little bit left. Let me check at some of the comments because I was rambling there, so I might have skipped some people. Roderick Hawkins says, yes, sir, down under and all the Pacific. Together we travel. Hello. Marge Draper, sounds like an awesome trip. I certainly hope so. I believe it will be. And that's why we go, right? We got Bill from Armstrong Adventures. Good to see you here, Bill. Hello, Bill. Or what's the little thing? Oh no, or that's dating myself back there, but Mr. Bill. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're caught up there, and yeah, I'm. The thing is, so Australia's money situation, and this has me a little concerned too. Did a Mediterranean cruise, and I believe, no, we had to get euros, but it was only euros, like the whole cruise. I mean, pretty much everywhere we went was euros. So you only had one currency to worry about. So this cruise, there's a couple currencies to worry about, and then you got to worry about, you know, money switching over. So, for example, 15, well, I can tell you, it's like 3 to 2 or something, I think, American money to, so like $15, or no, maybe I have that wrong. So $20, let's say $20. $20 US would be like $30 Australian money. So, to get the same value, you're going to have to pay $30 in Australian money to get $20 of what you would get in American. So I've looked at some of these excursions in Australia, and not all the times are they listed like in Australian currency or US currency, and they're just like crazy expensive, like really super expensive, more expensive than I've seen, even booked like through Carnival and, regular Caribbean cruises. And I'm like, holy crap, and I mean, some of them sound pretty good, but then others are like, that's way too much money for whatever they're talking about doing. So that has a little bit concern. And then like Bali, somebody shared on our cruise page site, because they had been to Bali recently, because there's a lot of Australians on this cruise, as you could imagine, and they were showing some money, and they said, well, this is about $500 worth of currency. And I mean, it looked like millions of dollars. I mean, they just had stacks of money, Belizean money or whatever. So that's a little intimidating when you don't know the currency and everything, and you're purchasing stuff, and you got to get all that money switched over and everything. So that's definitely something I will have to research and go about. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. And I mean, part of that can be fun in itself, I guess, just kind of trying to figure everything out. Let's see here. Cruise Life TV says, I always use my credit card to avoid the exchange fees. And yeah, Greg and Michelle, I will probably do that. And then I remember doing that Mediterranean cruise in 2016, and they said, if you go to ATM to get cash, to, get it with the credit card or your bank card or whatever, and you'll get the lowest exchange fees in terms of taking out money and stuff like that. So definitely going to do that, but good advice there. Marjorie is here. Marjorie's and she says controversial. Oh, hello, Marjorie is saying hello to a couple people. And Funnelhead says, listen to our live last time. You may never get a chance to go back to Australia. Do what you want. You'll never regret it. Yeah. And Andrew makes a good point in reference to the money, right? Because we were talking about excursions and, them being a little pricey and this and that. And no, Andrew, you're absolutely right. So if there is an excursion, like for example, I want to do shark cage diving. Like that's like a bucket list thing for me. I mean, one of the water things I want to do is shark cage diving, and I want to swim with the whale sharks, do snorkeling with the whale sharks. And I was supposed to do that snorkeling with the whale sharks, and I was going to do it up in Cancun when we were in Cozumel and take a trip up there. And Carnival actually had it as an excursion. I had it booked and everything. And they had some conservation thing where one day, literally one day, not one day a week, but one day a month, they were going to not allow excursions and stuff to be around the whale sharks as a measure to help them or something like that. And that just happened to be the day that we were going to be there. So, I mean, I had paid for it, everything else, and so I didn't get to swim with my whale sharks, but I had that all booked. And then, I mean, Australia is known for having a lot of sharks and stuff like that. So I'm wanting to think that, on one of these ports, I'm going to see, I haven't seen it on the Carnival site, but I'm wanting to say that there's got to be some shark cage diving somewhere, where they can put me a scuba mask on me or whatever, throw me in a cage. I'm protected from the sharks, getting through the cage, obviously, but it'll be a thrill to be that close to those, shark and all the teeth and everything like that, and just knowing that if I was out there that they probably could chew me up in like no time, but it would be a thrill for sure. So Mary says, never let them convert for you, always have it converted by your bank. Yeah, that's a good thought, and a lot of people on the cruise page have said as much too. Like if you go and you try to get money converted, watch them counting it, and then also like if you do get it done, don't just hand them, a random amount of money, like get $100 or $200 or $300, so you can figure out the exchange rate, and make sure that it's right and everything. So, oh, look at that. We got Bruce. We haven't seen Bruce in a little while, but Bruce from Ocean Travel is here. Frankie Floyd has just checked in. What's going on, Frankie? Bruce is saying hi to everybody. Bruce should be on right after me, which is roughly 40 minutes. And again, mine, like I said, I wasn't even sure. I didn't know if I'd be flying in a plane right now or not, but as it turns out, it'll probably be about over 4 hours before I can be flying anywhere. So I am glad that I was able to do this live, and hopefully this time next week, I think it should be a C day, I believe, and hopefully I'll be able to go live again once I figure out the time difference, and I'll try to keep it so it's 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, and I know that's probably going to be sometime in the morning for me. Carnival Cruise Addicts, hope you can sleep on the plane. You know what? That's an interesting thought, Carnival Cruise Addicts, because I had mentioned this to Anita. I said, I'm going to try to maybe figure out the time difference and try to catch up. Everybody talks about jet lag and everything. So, if I figure out the time difference before we leave, and then how many hours, I'm gonna have to do some math, which may not work out good, especially since I've been drinking here. But I want to start trying to get in line with Australia's time zone. So I know one day maybe I'll have to do like close to an all-nighter or just take a couple naps and try to get my body on the same schedule as Australia time. And then obviously when I come back, it's going to be difficult too. And I remember last time coming back from the Mediterranean, and that was a struggle for a couple weeks. I was struggling, and I didn't really do anything at all to try to get back in the flow. Just woke up when I had to and that type of thing. So I am trying to make the most of this and get my body in line with Australia as quickly as possible. Also, a couple people that are on the ship, some of you may be familiar with them. I have seen some coach cruisers on their Facebook page, but Monica Broshka, I think is her last name, and Jarrell is her husband. They are on the Carnival Splendor and have been on the Carnival Splendor for months. I was on the New Year's Eve cruise with them on the Carnival Celebration and found out that they were going to be on the Celebration. I didn't realize they were going to be on the Celebration this long, but as it turns out, they're going to be on the Celebration and get off in Singapore. So that is their last cruise. The one cruise that we're doing, the 15-day journey cruise, is their actual last cruise on the Carnival Splendor. And they have literally been on a cruise ship for the past year. They've gone to a lot of different cruise ships in these last 3 months or so, have been strictly on the Carnival Splendor. So I have not talked to Monica about it, but I actually plan on going live with her and inviting her on the show and having her sit next to me. So for those of you that are fans of her Facebook page and follow her, you could check that out. So let's see here. I'm just going back through the comments here. We got Marjorie, Carnival Cruise Addicts, and Jake. Jake just checked in. What's going on, Jake? All right, so any questions? Any other questions related to Australia and what we got going on over there? By the way, I did delay the premiere of the last day of the Carnival Horizon. So that was originally going to come out the same time as this show was starting, because I wasn't sure I was going to get to go live. So I backed that up an hour. So when this show is over, it'll be 8 o'clock Central. That video will be the final cruise day, and that's where I went to the chef's table and all that good stuff. So and not only that, but the Alchemy Bar mixology class, for those of you that have never done like a mixology class. I didn't cover it as thoroughly as I have done in the past, but I gave you, a basic understanding of it, and went over a few other things. Sean says, will you host a bar crawl? And I wonder, let's see. Okay. I was going to see if I'm just doing this on my phone because I like to highlight and put those comments up on the screen. But I'm not on StreamYard right now. I did bring my computer, but Sean asked, will you host a bar crawl? And the answer to that is yes. I have shirts packed for everybody. The crazy thing is, and I learned this too, so if you know people in Australia, I thought like PayPal was like a worldwide type thing. It's not. And there's really no way to exchange currency with somebody in Australia. Like, they use all different forms of electronic payment and everything. So normally, when I do shirts for people on the bar crawl and stuff like that, if they don't pay for the whole thing in advance and I, send them the shirts, which would be just a nightmare trying to send people shirts that live in Australia and all over the world. So, I need to pack them. So when I was looking at the electronic payment, I wanted to get a deposit from people because, I've done it a couple times where I didn't get a deposit from people and then they don't show up and they don't get their shirt or whatever. But if everybody puts like something as simple as a $5 deposit, they almost always show up. Or even if they didn't show up, it's like, okay, well, I got $5 for my trouble for packing and bringing it back if I didn't get rid of the shirt. But in this case, I'm going to have to trust everybody on their word that they want the shirts and things like that. And we're going to meet day one, and I believe we're going to do 2 bar crawls. I have not 1 but 2 bar crawl schedules for day 4 and day 11. Andrew says, what stop are you most excited for? Bali, yeah, Bali and Lombok, Indonesia, I think I'm most excited for. And I mean, there might be an Australian thing. Like, if you told me right now, like, oh, okay, they have shark cage diving at this port in Australia, I would be most excited for that because, like I said, that's a bucket list thing. So if I have the opportunity to do that, I have a waterproof case with me. I will take that down there and I will take you shark cage diving with me. And it will be amazing. And yeah, and we'll have that shark swimming right towards us like he's about to eat us and then whoosh, hit the cage or something. So that would be super cool. So that would be the one I would be most looking for. But again, I'm all about the scenic beauty. Bali and Gigi, it's like Gigi Islands or something like that. Gigi Islands, Fiji Islands, something like that. There's some kind of islands that are, a long boat ride away from Lombok and Bali that are just breathtaking, water, everything else like that. And then it's very affordable also to stay in Bali. So, for example, that would be another argument to stay in Bali over Singapore. Singapore has, obviously the culture, the city is beautiful, everything else, amazing architecture, all those type of things. They had some crazy good nightlife and stuff like that. But I heard it's kind of expensive, not the food. The food is affordable, but all the other stuff to do, I heard, is a little pricey. So Bali, on the other hand, especially with the excursions I've noticed, and Lombok, Indonesia, their excursions by comparison to Australia and Singapore, far cheaper and for what you get for the money and stuff like that. And then, like I say, you get that scenic beauty. So if we were going to stay 2 to 3 days longer, we could probably get a super nice place, beautiful everything else, and just be in that scenic beauty and all that good stuff. So yeah. All right, try to make sure. So Sean, yeah, doing 2 bar crawls, and like I said, I probably got about 25 shirts or more packed up and ready for a bunch of people. I got my lays, everything. Mary Ellen says, did you ask Lee about these ports? He was on Splendor. If I remember correctly, Bali is where he proposed to Geraldine. And you know what? I just was talking with Lee, Mary Ellen, while he was on his way back to the UK. I was wishing him safe travels and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden he messaged me back. He's like, yeah, I'm still traveling. He's like, it's been a nightmare. And I know I've had my share of bad travel experiences, and I think Lee and I have that in common. So we message back and forth a little bit, but I know it's his typical thing to, go back and just like sleep for 3 days, but he's had Geraldine with him. And that's another one. If you don't follow Lee, get on his Lee, your cruise director on Facebook. He's been putting out a lot of video of him and Geraldine. You know, they're prepping for their wedding next summer and everything. So they're together now, and they are a very cool couple to follow around, because they are a cruising couple, obviously him being a cruise director and her being a playlist performer. So yeah, it's very cool to follow them around. So yeah, go check him out on Lee, your cruise director on Facebook, and Lee, your cruise director on YouTube too. He hasn't been putting as many YouTube videos out, but I imagine that will pick up now that he's on break. He'll probably get back into the video work and stuff. Let me, I need to pour my beer here and take a sip if you all don't mind. I've been talking. Normally I have some help. I know Andrew and Carnival Cruise Addicts and Cruise Life TV, they're usually helping me out so I don't have to be talking so much, but now I'm a little parched, so let me have a little sip of my Modelo here. Joe's having something to eat, and as I mentioned earlier, I had some really good tacos. Where's the shots? They're in there somewhere. That must have come from Liz, I'm gathering. But I could, if you wanted me to do a shot, I could probably do like half this beer or something. I don't want to drink the whole thing because I want to have something to sip on. But yeah. Now there's some shots in there, so maybe I'll do a shot of Patron before we head to the airport. But we're also flying with, you know, partner airlines, so I don't want to be like getting on there drunk. Joe is drinking or eating beans with speck and onions. I'm not sure what speck is, but Joe, maybe you are Australia, and that would make more sense over there. I know that what was it? Speaking of Lee and Geraldine, they did a video and they were showing, Geraldine was just having fish and chips and it looked great and everything, but Lee had like this big old sausage, and then his fish and chips were covered like with beans, and Geraldine even said, like, our American friends might be confused by your plate or whatever, but I guess there was some fish or something underneath there, so maybe that is speck is bacon. Okay. So maybe it's something similar to that, and Joe, yes, is Australian. So Joe, I guess I'm going to see you on the Splendor then, right? I'm maybe, I don't know, or maybe you just tuned in because you saw I was talking about Australia or whatever. So oh well, maybe I won't, because I just see Carnival Cruise Addicts saying maybe you're just watching the show. But so yeah, Joe, are you down under cruisers or just another Australian friend that because like I say, your name I haven't seen as much on this particular strand, but it's all good anyway. Thanks for being here. All right, I don't know what else to talk about, honestly. After the Carnival Splendor, my next cruise isn't until Thanksgiving, and that'll be back on the Carnival Horizon again. It seems like, like I say, I'm releasing one of the last videos for Carnival Horizon right after this show in 27 minutes, as a matter of fact. It will be premiering. I might tune in and throw a couple comments on there. So, yeah, Carnival Cruise Addicts, the joy of sharing live streams, absolutely. Joe says, not this time. I traveled out after meeting the Down Under Cruiser, separate channel. Yeah, well, no, Joe, that's why I had mentioned that, because they have been on my channel before. Okay, Mary Ellen has said, that's Sean and Alana. Okay. There are so many of us out there that honestly, I mean, if I don't see you on a regular basis, like obviously, you know, Andrew from Funnelheads and Chris and Liz and Greg and Michelle and Scott and everything, like we're regular, like constantly talking and things like that. So, and my buddy Derek is leaving for Rome, I think today, from Island time. And I saw him and Amanda and the kids were off doing that. So that's going to be amazing cruise. It just turns out we're traveling on the same day. So yeah, we both got some heavy travel, but they have confirmed tickets. So, okay, Joe, well, hopefully it's not your last time. Hopefully you're back again. And Joe, since you are in Australia, then heck, you can maybe message me message me, Brad Dowling, and oh, look at that. We got Liz and Chris. All right. So, yeah, but Joe, message me seriously. So Sydney, Cairns, Brisbane, and Airlie Beach. Your recommendation. And Brad Dowling, that's my name on Messenger. You'll see a picture of me with some bright blue water behind me and stuff like that. So, all right, Liz and Chris, I'm gonna do like half of this because I want to have a little bit left. I want to have a little bit left to sip on here in these last 20 minutes. So Liz and Chris, thank you for that super chat. And here we go. All right. There we go. I drank most of it there. Thank you for that. And Mary Ellen says that she's going to all of those too. So very cool. And yeah, like I said, whatever I end up doing, I'm going to do vlogs, Mary Ellen. So, hopefully I do some things that you see and you're like, oh, okay. No, Anita is not sitting with me. She's sitting in the bar. I had invited her if she wanted to come out here, but there's TVs and stuff in there. And honestly, it's beautiful out here though. So it's not like hot out here or anything. So, she could be out here and she wouldn't be uncomfortable. But yeah, for LA, I know it's supposed to be warmer and I know there's heat waves going all across the US and things like that, but let's see, according to my phone, it is 77 degrees. And it's breezy. I got this little shade tarp thing over me. And yeah, like I said, I'm in this little outdoor patio area and yeah, it's great. No complaints whatsoever. And yeah, so I honestly, I don't know what else to talk about, guys. So, if you don't have any questions for me, I'm going to try to go live. I'll go live from Sydney. And yeah, Carnival Cruise Addicts, they live in Florida, so 77 would be almost chilly to them. But that is one thing, for those of you that didn't know, a friend of mine checked in, but Australia, it's their winter time. So up until, I want to say, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I'm following the cruise page and the Australians were warning us like, hey, just so you Americans know, it's not summer down here, it's winter. And they even shared the temperatures. I know a couple times they shared some temperatures when it was like in the 50s a month or so ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not trying to go on a cruise and need a jacket. And I didn't pack a jacket. And I did ask Alexa or whatever, I said, hey, what's the temperature in Sydney right now? I asked her about a week ago or so, and I asked for a 10-day forecast, something like that. And the lowest she said the temperature was going to be in those 10 days was like 60. So I'm hoping by the time the cruise finally sets off, it's like high 60s, low 70s. And they said as the cruise gets deeper and we start moving away from Australia, like down towards Indonesia, that the temperature should warm up. So I'm kind of hoping that is the case. And the temperature does warm up, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I have a pair of jeans because I had to conserve and pack all those shirts and stuff, so I was limited. Joe says it is snowing on the Australian Alps right up into the central and north. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, that's not encouraging. DB22 says, Coach, what's up, my man? What is up? Thanks for checking in. Oh, Kevin B, I missed you too. Kevin B is here, and Kevin has cruised with me before. Good to see you there, Kevin. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take this to 45 minutes. So we are about to hit the 39-minute mark right now. So that means 6 minutes left. Just come, where are you? Right now I'm in LA. I am just outside the LAX airport at a bar, I don't know, maybe a mile away from the airport. You might have even heard a couple planes crossing overhead. We are flying to Australia, hopefully tonight. And, there's several different airlines that we could potentially go with. Qantas is one of them. I think that we have a pretty good chance of getting on. American Airlines has a flight that looks really good too. And then Air New Zealand or something has a flight that looks promising. So I think there's a pretty solid chance we'll get on a flight tonight, and then it will be 18, 20 hours. And the crazy thing is, it's whatever time it is here. It is already Wednesday in Australia right now. Joe, can you confirm that? Joe is in Australia. So what time is it there, Joe, in Australia? If you could share that with us, since he's our resident expert right now, since he is an Australian watching the show. Mary Ellen says, "Are you non-rev?" Yes. For those of you that don't know, Anita is a flight attendant, and when we first started traveling, we would go non-rev or standby almost all the time. But they changed the rules, and then honestly, the planes have just filled up anyway. And so there's been a lot of times where we just couldn't get it on a flight, or it was very difficult, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt, honestly. And so, with Southwest, a lot of times now, I'll just pay for the flight. Like, I'm just like a normal person. So I'll book my flight. So for example, Thanksgiving, I've already spent my money on a flight there and back. It's already paid for. Now I'm not even gonna mess around with the non-rev or the standby. But in this case, flights ranged one way. We're just talking basic economy class. You're looking at about $1,200 each way, per person. So roughly $2,500, and that's just like economy. So that's $5,000 between the two of us, whereas she can book it as a flight attendant where we just pay taxes and stuff, but again, we have to fly standby. So, it's worth it to leave a few days earlier, and if we struggle getting on a plane for a day or two, we should still get there on time. But yeah, so that was a long way to answer your question, Mary Ellen, but and a lot of people, I know Sean says, oh, so you're flying standby all the time. He said that earlier, and I'm like, well, no, not really, because, like I said, it's such a pain in the butt to fly standby. And especially in my case, if I'm not with Anita, then I'm like the last person getting on the plane, or one of the last people to get on the plane. So it's almost a guarantee I'm going to be sitting in a middle seat. And like I said, at 6'5", 270 pounds, in a middle seat, even for a couple hours, is not good. It's not something I want to endure for more than like an hour or so. So I would just as soon rather pay the $250, $300, $400 or more, depending. Like Thanksgiving's a little pricier, but at least I know I got a ticket, and we'll go through like that. So let's see. Joe says it is 10:40 a.m. Wednesday morning here on the east coast of Australia. And again, obviously it is 5:42 LA time. It'd be 7:42 Central Time, 8:42 Eastern Time. But in Australia, it's 10:40 Wednesday, and here in the States, obviously, it is Tuesday. So that is why we're actually losing a day, and we'll be making up time on the way back. So the flight, on the way back, since we're traveling back, we're going to be stealing time, and it's going to be like the longest day ever on my watch. So we'll see how that goes. Mary says, so I got a good deal. Cool. Yeah, if you booked this far out, Mary, you probably did get a good deal. Like I said, the flights I'm looking at now, it would be about $1,200. Joe says, I choose to travel by coach, A192 return, fares for the coaches. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Joe says, when I was planning to go down to Victoria, it was going to cost me $700 return from my local airport to Melbourne and back. Okay. Yeah, so maybe it just takes a little more planning, and I imagine, if you know in advance for sure you're going on this trip, you probably are paying those tickets well in advance to get the better deals. Connecticut to Sydney wasn't cheap, but it was less than what you quoted. Includes 2 bags and that extra leg room for a flight that long, Mary Ellen, is so crucial. So glad you got a good deal on that. Roderick says, safe travels, and we will see you soon. I appreciate that, Roderick. And I appreciate everybody, honestly. This was an unscheduled live, and I think we had around 22 people or more for a lot of it. And we still got close to 20 hanging on here in the final minutes or so. I did say I was going to cut a little short. If nobody has any little extra questions or anything like that, we'll push this 45 minutes. I think 45 minutes is not so bad, considering I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to go live or at all. Carnival Cruise Addicts, thank you for that super chat. And I still have a couple. I'll finish this right now for you. Maybe we'll get one more before we leave. So we just hit the 45-minute mark. And again, everybody, if you are new to the channel, you're just watching this, and you're like, oh, hey, I'm thinking about doing Australia or whatever, make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the subscribe, not only the subscribe, but the notifications, so you get notified when I'm going release a new vlog or whatever, especially an Australian vlog, if you're interested in doing this trip yourself. And see, have a great time. Thank you for that. Enjoy your trip. Mary Ellen, thank you for that. And yes, I'll have plenty of vlogs. Joe says, when I booked the coach to Melbourne, I paid $65 each way. Okay. Yeah, and like I say, Joe, shoot me a message. Mandy says, safe travels. Can't wait to see your videos. Will G, thank you for that. Safe travels. I will say hi. Definitely. Sean, it's not too late to smash the like button. Yes, I love that you end with that. And we already got 21 likes already. We had that $10 super chat from Carnival Cruise Addicts. Make sure you go check out their show. And all of our other cruise content creators that have checked in today, make sure you go check them out if you haven't. Look at that. We got Uncle Dave checked in. And we're just about to leave, Uncle Dave, but you made it. Thanks for checking in and saying hello. And again, I'm going to try to go live a lot because it's not every day you're in Australia. As I mentioned before, those of you that don't follow Monica Broshka, I think I don't know, how do you say her last name, but she is a friend of ours. Met her on the celebration. She does some great content via Facebook. She doesn't have a YouTube channel yet, but what I'm going to plan on doing is going on StreamYard, and I'm hoping that she can stream that through her Facebook site for her followers and stuff like that. And we'll talk about them living on a cruise ship the past year, and then everything Australia and everything to do, because they've been on the ship for 3 months, so they will know better than anybody. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So we will see you all later. And Carnival Cruise Addict says she's a gambler like us. Yeah, she's always posting up videos of the slot machines and slot machine wins and things like that. I think somebody won like $90,000 she posted on one of the slot machines, and she had video of it. So yeah, they're definitely some slot machine people. And Mary Ellen says, say hey to Sam on Splendor for me. Yes, Simon London is the cruise director. I will be doing an interview with him. I've already got that approved, and he's already said he wants to do one with me. So Simon London, if you've ever cruised with that cruise director, Simon, then you will be in a treat because I will be with him live. Well, not live maybe, but for sure a interview. And we've actually gone to 48 minutes now, so got a little extra time. All right, everybody, take care, and I'm going to go try to get on a plane to Australia. And hopefully next time I see you, it will be from Australia. All right, we'll see you.